Ah, what a beautiful day in Allusions 2. The sun is shining, the birds are whistling, the fishes are blubbering. It's a good day. If only I was getting killed by 10 people at the same time. The Blank Sands is an unreleased boss in the Roblox game Allusions 2, one of the greatest Roblox games ever made. It is also the name of a character and boss from the best game ever made, called Library of Ruina. And since the Blank Sands is an unreleased boss, I wanted to figure out just how strong it is. And as such, I've decided to run an experiment. Let me go over the experiment that we're going to be conducting. Round 1 will feature one opponent who has 5 lives. The player that I'm up against has access to any rare arsenals and even legendary arsenals if he can get his hands on them. If he fails to kill me within his 5 lives, we move on to the next round. And we keep repeating that until I finally die. But first up, let's go over his stats. The Blank Silence has 350 HP, 19 speed, 1x damage, and 0% additional defense. This applies to all phases with the exception of phase 4, where you gain 500 HP instead of 350. One thing you might immediately notice is the presence of these cards at the bottom of your screen. You see, instead of a regular weapon like any other character in Allusions, the Blank Silence uses combat pages, directly inspired by the source material Library of Ruina. These images actually have a number of important pieces of information right on them. Let's take Atelier Logic for example. This is one of the combat pages of the Blank Silence. In the top left we have the cost, which is measured in light. Next up we have the name, the number of attacks, and finally the keybind or just slot. Looking a little bit closer, every attack has a damage range. So in this example, this specific hit will deal anywhere from 7 to 12 damage. Now let's go over the phases. The Blank Silence has 4 phases, each featuring its own unique song. Phases 1, 2 and 3 only feature increases in the light. Finally, in phase 4, as I mentioned earlier, your max HP increases to 500 and your max light increases to 12. Now let's go over each individual combat page. First up we have Soul Covert Workshop. It costs 0 light, has 2 hits, and a special ability which draws 1 additional card upon being used. Next up Old Boys Workshop. Costs 1 light, has 1 hit, and the special ability to recover 10 stagger. Next up Atelier Logic. It costs 2 light, has 3 hits, and has no special abilities except for the fact that it's ranged. Next up, Mook Workshop. It costs 2 light, has 1 hit, and has the special abilities of restoring 3 light, drawing 1 page, and dealing 3 additional damage upon hit. Next up, Ranga Workshop. It costs 0 light, has 3 hits, and has special ability of inflicting 5 bleed. I don't know what that does. Next up, Alas Workshop. It costs 2 light, has 2 hits, and the special ability is giving you 25% defense for 5 seconds. Next up, Crystal Atelier. Costing 3 light, with 2 hits, and the special ability of giving you iframes for 1.5 seconds. Next up, Durandal. Costs 2 light, has 2 hits, and has special ability of giving plus 1.25x damage for every hit. And finally, Wheels Industry costs 4 light, does 1 hit, and has special ability of disabling the enemy stash for 4 seconds. With that out of the way, let's get into round 1. Round 1 served as something of a training round. Obviously, using a boss enemy to kill one regular guy is pretty unfair. So the entire time I was pretty much just figuring out how everything works, learning combos, managing my light, seeing what attacks can actually be stopped by regular people, which will be a pretty major factor in the fights involving more people. And also realizing that every kill I get, I fully heal my HP. And on top of that, the stagger bar is pretty much unaffected. But what is the stagger bar? The Blank Silence has something called the stagger bar. You see, the Blank Silence cannot be stunned in the way that a regular Allusions player can. Instead, the Blank Silence features a stagger bar, which goes down every time you take damage. Upon reaching 0, you get stunned for a duration of approximately 4 seconds. During that time, you also take more damage from any incoming attacks. Round 1 wrapped up with pretty much no chance. Round 2 was very similar. Once again, it was very unfair. It was just 2 regular players against a boss, and I was just further learning everything. But alongside me, the other 2 were also starting to learn, which would be a pretty important factor in the future rounds, but we'll get there when we get there. Now at this point I realized there's a bit of an issue. You see, finding people is hard. You know, as it turns out, people don't really care about being in the video of a YouTuber with less subscribers than his own class. So I was forced to go into Allusions 2 General. And after asking around and totally not embarrassing myself, I finally got enough people to make my own Limbus company. With this, let's continue. Round 4 was honestly just a violation. The entire game I was pretty much just completely dominating the others, and although I did go down to almost half my HP a couple times, there was pretty much no difficulty despite that. Because at this point I was improving much faster than everybody else, which might just be from the fact that the new people obviously were doing this for the first time, and kinda just getting in the way of the more experienced fighters at this point. The people I invited just got better and better. Each new fighter was more skilled than the previous one. And this was starting to become a bit of a headache for me, because although I could keep my HP up, I was struggling to land attacks. There's also the issue of my attacks being distributed among multiple people, making it harder to actually kill anybody, because I constantly had to refocus my attention onto other people. Round 5 and 6 went pretty much the exact same way, just slightly more difficult each time since there were more people, but overall it was pretty much the same thing. Round 7, however, is where things get interesting. In round 7, we gained a crucial member for this experiment, which was Vic. They would play a major role in the upcoming rounds, although for the time being, they weren't able to do much against me. The teamwork was honestly starting to get a bit ridiculous. At times, they would synchronize so perfectly, they would land like 10 hits in a row on me, without even giving me a chance to defend myself. Thankfully, there were still a lot of people around that I could kill, so my HP was staying up relatively easily. But I definitely had some closer run-ins at this point. Since we had 7 people fighting against me, that also meant that I would finally be able to advance to stage 4 of the Black Silence.
내게는 고통밖에 없습니다. 그것 말고는 아무것도 바라지 않습니다. 고통은 내게 충실했고 지금도 변함이 없습니다. 내 영혼이 심연의 바닥을 헤맬 때에도 고통은 늘 곁에 앉아 날 지켜주었으니 어떻게 고통을 원망하겠습니까? 아, 고통이여, 너는 결코 내게서 떠나지 않겠기에 나는 마침내 너를 존경하기에 이르렀다. 나는 이제 너를 알겠다. 너는 존재하는 것만으로도 아름답다는 것을. 너는 가난한 내 마음의 화롯가를 결코 떠나지 않았던 사람을 닮았다. 나의 고통이여, 너는 더없이 사랑하는 연인보다 다정하다. 나는 알고 있나니 내가 죽음의 자리에 드는 날에도 너는 내 마음속으로 깊이 들어와 나와 함께 가지런히 누우리라.
This is the peak of the Black Silence. I had pretty much unlimited light. I could use basically any attack at any point because my light reserves and light regeneration were just so high. And at this point I would have also been able to use Ego a lot, but as I mentioned earlier, Ego hasn't been added yet. I swiftly took care of the remaining people, and that was pretty much it for round 7. Round 8 is what we've all been waiting for. By this point I came to realize that even with great teamwork and tons of experience, beating me would be extremely difficult because of the sheer amount of regeneration that I have. So I decided to give one person a legendary arsenal of their choice. Now if you're not too experienced with Allusions 2, or just legendary arsenals specifically, legendary arsenals are absurdly overpowered. They have the ability to destroy entire servers. One of them can literally end the ongoing round. So I had the fighters elect one person to receive the legendary arsenal, and they chose Vic. Now after some debating they landed on 2 legendary arsenals that they would pick between. And one of the fighters, Boss, asked to test out Mugetsu, which was the first choice. The second choice being the Shepherd. Now, what Mugetsu does is it's essentially just a very big, very strong sword slash, dealing 300 damage, which wouldn't outright kill me in most cases, because remember, I have 350 HP at base. So unless I'm already low, Mugetsu won't even kill me, unlike some of the other legendary arsenals. However, the amount of damage you need to deal in order to use Mugetsu is also rather low compared to the other legendary arsenals. So after Boss tested out Mugetsu, they ultimately decided on giving Vic Mugetsu. However, it wasn't charged, so they would have to deal 300 damage first before being able to use it. And with that, it was time for round 8. Round 8 was quite frankly painful for me, because you gotta consider at this point I had been spending hours recording footage for this video, and I was starting to get tired. Not to mention that, I was also fighting 8 people at the same time. But despite all that, I pushed on through, and like every round before, I was doing decently well. I definitely had some close ones, and getting me down to half HP was pretty easy at this point. It was a fairly common occurrence. And after like 10 minutes of fighting, I heard a sound. And it's a miss. The first Mugetsu was a complete miss. Now you may have noticed I said first, because Vic was still alive. I hadn't killed them once, and Mugetsu isn't single use. So after pushing further, and it's a miss. We also had a new member called Rawao, who was a Phoenix Ride user. And the thing about Phoenix is that Phoenix has a transformation pretty much. I don't know what the requirements are for achieving it, but once you have that mode, Phoenix becomes completely overpowered. The amount of damage I was taking is absurd. Almost dying at this point, without even being hit by Mugetsu. The fight continued as before. Rawao managed to use Phoenix Rides mode again, however they still failed to kill me. But once again it was really close. And then I heard that sound again. Ladies and gentlemen, I died. Finally. After 8 excruciating rounds, I had died. However, if you take a closer look, you might notice something. When you die in Allusions 2, there's a kill cam showing who killed you. And you might notice the person we're looking at, that's not Vic. In my exhaustion, I completely forgot to take away Boss's Mugetsu. But regardless, we decided to count it as a win because Vic actually lost power like 1 minute before this happened. So realistically speaking, this could have been Vic too. But calm down, I can hear you raging. Alright, we did another round. 8 people again, no legendary arsenals, and you won't believe what happened. Immediately, Rawao moved into this strong offensive, dealing some good damage on me, taking every advantage and dodging almost every attack I had coming for them. And during that I was also constantly getting distracted by other players, when suddenly, Rawao popped Phoenix Rides mode. But not just that, because immediately afterwards, I heard this. Dragon Install, which gives you a progressively increasing multiplier on your damage, starting at 2x. So the already absurd damage of Phoenix Rides mode got multiplied, and consistently multiplied higher and higher. Because Dragon Install continues on indefinitely as long as you keep regenerating the bar with more damage, and since I was just a walking sack of HP, Rawao could consistently refill Dragon Install, meaning the multiplier would just go higher and higher, and even though I was getting kills during this mode, it was futile, and ultimately I died to Rawao, and with that, the experiment wrapped up. To be frank, this isn't a perfect experiment. In a real setting, in a public server, nobody would cooperate perfectly like this. And the chances of a Phoenix Ride user getting mode and Dragon Install and then not dying beforehand are also really low. But despite that, I think this was a decent experiment to show just what the Black Silence is capable of. And if you too want to be part of an experiment like this in the future or any other videos of mine, join my Discord server down below, and I'll see you guys next time. Have a nice day.